one of the reasons why the three of you are here today is to talk about this kind of coalition that you've formed. So we're going to talk a little bit about ranked choice voting. So in San Francisco, we have ranked choice voting for certain city offices, including mayor. In the last election, however, it was not employed. So basically with ranked choice voting, it means that when you vote, your ballot will have 3 identical columns with all the names of the candidates in them. And you can mark your first, second, or third choice. You don't have to vote for all 3, but it can affect the power of your vote. So here's how it works. When the votes are counted, they count all the first choice votes. If one candidate has a majority of the vote, which is over 50%, that person is declared the winner. If no one has a majority of first choice votes, the person with the lowest number of first choice votes is eliminated. However, those ballots are counted again, this time counting the second choice votes and adding them to the total. So this process continues until one candidate has a majority or everyone else has been eliminated. So basically, it's essentially the system is to try to avoid costly and time-consuming runoff elections by automatically giving the voters alternative choices on one ballot. So basically, if you try to vote for the same person twice, it'll only be counted once. Your second choice only counts if your first choice gets eliminated, and your third choice only counts if your second choice gets eliminated. A bit complex, but we're all trying to figure out, we're all trying to understand this a little bit better. So I want to put this to the candidates. Could you please explain how you're planning to use this political tool of ranked choice voting to unseat the incumbent mayor, Ed Lee?
Yeah, just to simplify it, vote 1, 2, 3 to replace Ed Lee. You have 3 candidates that are people-powered that have aligned together. So whatever order of your choice, you can put Amy, Francisco, Stuart. You can put Francisco, Stuart, Amy. You can put Stuart, Francisco, Amy. Whatever it is that you want, you can put 3 candidates on that ballot. And that means that we don't have to compete against each other. We can actually work together and align to get a people-powered person in office. And all of us want to work together no matter what the outcome is in November. Even if Ed Lee does get reelected, which we're going to do our best to stop, we want to work together for the future of the city. But if one of the 3 of us get elected, we will work together in some collaboration to be able to move the city forward.
Yeah, I think, yeah, thanks. I think that it's very important that Ed Lee does not get elected. And there's 2 things that I like about ranked choice voting. That's why I work personally, and as so many people did in the past, to make it the way that we vote here in San Francisco. One, it gives the electorate more power. It gives us more power to be able to vote for different candidates. And 2, it allows us to knock off this empire thinking. The emperor. City Hall already has enough power that is unchecked. And so I think it is very important that Ed Lee not be elected. And that's why this 1, 2, 3 campaign is very important. We're not doing this as a symbolic thing, like, okay, we don't care if we win. No, each of us is running our campaign in a way to win, but we're saying it's more important that we as a citizenry of San Francisco stop the runaway housing market that the Ed Lee administration, because Newsom started it, Mayor Willie Brown started it, really. And he said it plainly back then in the 90s. If you don't make $50,000 a year, you shouldn't live here. Is that right? Now it's $150,000. Are you going to say that to a 50, 60-year-old person who's lived here, 65, 85-year-old person who's lived in her building for 50 years and is on fixed income, gave her life here, working here? Sorry, Mrs. Jones, if you don't make $50,000, if you don't make $150,000 a year, you don't deserve to live here. Is that what you're going to say to a veteran who gives his life to live, to work, to create the city? So 1, 2, 3 is really important that we register and we vote in that, just like Amy said, no matter which way. But it is important that Ed Lee, the administration of Ed Lee, does not continue running havoc on our city.
The ranked choice voting is incredibly powerful. I think that I read that Jean Kwan, who is the mayor of Oakland, on her first round got 11% of the vote, and she's mayor of Oakland now. So.
No, not Jean Kwan. Jean
Former,
Kwan lost.
Sorry. It was
She's former.
whoever it was, and then this time around, fuck it, I don't know. Fuck it.
No, but
That's
Jean
why I said I
Kwan
only
lost.
kind of read it.
No. Jean Kwan lost. You're right.
Right,
You're
but whoever it was, I think got 11% of the vote, and has now been, through ranked choice voting, is now the mayor of Oakland. So anything's possible, and I think that like you both were saying, what the Ed Lee regime has done is kind of broken all of our hearts, and we're all trying to put it back together.
And I just want to say, too, that there is so much excitement that I encounter when I'm campaigning, and I've heard the same from Francisco and Stuart, when people hear that there are opponents to Ed Lee and they have not just one choice but three, and we're working together as a coalition.
Mm-hmm.
That idea is so revolutionary to so many people, that we're not competing, that we're actually working together to be able to lead the city. There's so much excitement about that, and there's so many people looking for an alternative to Ed Lee. And so we're really looking to the media to give us opportunities to get the message out there. And so very grateful to Mutiny Radio for leading the cause in that way.
Actually, I'd like to say something about that. It's been really harmful and hurtful for the people who are in the media, or even people who are in politics who have power, saying, oh, no one's running against Ed Lee.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, fuck you. Mm-hmm. We all ponied up. We all got some money. We all got some signatures. We all put our heart and soul into this, into sticking up for our city. And for you to say no one else is running, that's disrespectful.
Very disrespectful.
Well,
That's what we switched the lyrics to. I give my heart. That's who said.
Yeah, I
Go
found
ahead.
my heart in
Word.
San Francisco.
Nice. That's good.
We just had a comment from the audience saying, "I want a mayor that sings." It's great to have the three of you here so that we can put this out, going around the internet on mutinyradio.fm, and of course all the people who've been able to come down here today. So I want to take our first audience question. So I see that someone is standing over there. George is up there at the public mic. So if you want to ask your question, and then candidates, you can field it.
George Bracy. And I have a twofold question. It's policy related. So I would like to know, how would you impact or make a difference with the adversarial policies that are impacting the city today, and knowing that there's a low voter turnout in all these impacted districts? How would you overcome that challenge? Because that will be a challenge. And then I applaud you for thinking outside the box and combining, your talents and your resources together to become one entity.
First off, thank you for being part of this and for asking the questions. I'm really working on my campaign a lot to get people to vote who don't normally vote. I'm doing that through what I do well, which is humor. If you just straight up politics all the time, people are going to get bored and stop paying attention. So I've been using comedy and humor and alternative ways to get ideas across, to get people to, hey, there's something going on and I should care. Another thing that I'm doing is I'm starting to try to get myself booked at tech companies. I'm currently booked next month at Twilio and at Dropbox, and hopefully a couple others, because my message is this, and I want to say it over and over again, is that this is San Francisco. We're very inclusive. We want you here if you want to be here. But if you're going to be here, you have to be here. You have to care. You have to be part of the city and not look at it as just a place to make your nut and leave. So, thank you. So yeah, that's my message I'm bringing to all these companies, saying, look, you don't got to vote for me, but the people who are in charge right now just look at you as a tax bracket, and not as people who deserve to be part of a community. And we do community so fucking well in San Francisco, and I want to keep that up, and I want these people to be part of our community. So.
In terms of when you were saying adversarial policies, the way I understood that really is that it's very divisive. What some of the companies are doing, creating these situations like with Prop F, the reason Prop F is on on the ballot is precisely because so much money has been pushed into the community to divide our community. Same with the people who are against Prop I. So much money has put in, millions of dollars, to really gouge the community. So these two, Prop F, Prop I, Prop H, are people-based propositions that have been forced to get on the ballot because we've gone to the Planning Commission, we've gone to the Board of Supervisors, time and again to City Hall to say, we the citizens are the developers of this city, and we have consistently found a closed door at the mayor's office, a thick wall at the Board of Supervisors, a sense of we don't care who you are. We are here to kick you out, and that's our solution because there's a lot of millions of dollars that we can make. And so that's why so many of us have come up now to say enough is enough. This is San Francisco, a community of communities, and we are going to develop it as is beneficial for our communities. And like Stuart was saying, sure, investors are welcome to come. Folks are welcome to come here and try to blend in and try to be a part of it, but not at the expense of people who've created the city and find themselves being priced out, as they say. There ain't no free lunch, there ain't never been no free lunch, and there ain't no free market, excuse me.
So I actually grew up in an atmosphere where I learned how to be a bridge between two very polarized entities, which were my parents. Because my mom is a born-again Christian who is a Republican and watches Fox News, and my dad is a Jewish Democrat who cried when The Daily Show ended recently. And so they're still together. And my focus has been on how do we work together to align towards the greater good with these very different viewpoints. And so that's something that I have been working on in my own spiritual practice and my practice as a leader for the last 20 or so years. And in San Francisco, working in this field of neighborhood development, there are very different ideas about how to develop neighborhoods. And my focus through my nonprofit, Neighbors Developing Divisadero, has been to give people a voice by putting out these online surveys around issues that matter, whether it be around the development of a blighted theater or even the short-term rental legislation, aka Airbnb. I listen to people, I hear both sides, and that's what we should all be doing as leaders, is even if you disagree with what someone's saying, it's good to have people be able to share their opinions in an open-ended forum so that you are held accountable to having to address those. And one of the issues right now that's very contentious in the city is the development of Balboa Reservoir, which is near CCSF. This has been a contested issue since Dianne Feinstein was mayor. She tried to develop Balboa Reservoir for affordable housing back in the 80s and was unsuccessful because she wasn't taking into account the needs of CCSF and the surrounding community. Ed Lee has said that this land is now available to be developed for affordable housing, but guess what? It's the same issues. So I've been to a couple of the community hearings and forums, and I put together a plan that addresses all the different needs, and because I feel like we can truly come together and address the needs of CCSF, the community, and our need for more affordable housing, and our need for more light industry and opportunities for economic opportunities and jobs that can connect with those needs. And Ed Lee has not come out as a leader and said, hey guys, I know this is a really challenging topic. It's been something that, people have had strong opinions on for years, but we really need to work together. I haven't seen him be a leader on it. He just made the announcement that it's available, and then he's out of there. And he's leaving it to the planning department, and now this whole process has dragged on. It's already been almost a year, and nothing's really happened there.